White flag raised. And that off. The Guinness Galway Blazers Handicap Chase, 2 3/4 miles, 14 fences. Pushed on to lead is Marv Michael, followed by Light Keeper. On the inside, Native Speaker, followed by Turtan Pike Trip, and in between horses, Never a Dull Moment. Followed by She's a Fine Wine, and then Antrim Coast and Rian as they jump the first fence. And over together, Marv Michael and Light Keeper, building up an advantage over Turtan Pike Trip. Never a Dull Moment. On the inside is Native Speaker, followed to fence 2 by She's a Fine Wine, and an Ambitious Fellow, and in between horses is Flash to Tuzane. With those two is Antrim Coast, and then Rian as they head on away from the second fence. They're followed by the Gopher. On to number 3. Marv Michael leads Light Keeper, but only just. Closed upon by Turtan Pike Trip, and then Flash to Tuzane, who's picked up ground. Never a Dull Moment, She's a Fine Wine, Native Speaker, and Antrim Coast. Ambitious Fellow and Must Be Obeyed, and Rian and Kiltilly Park and the Gopher. Cave Cord, Moon Over Clone, Digby, Mars Harper, Harsh, Top Weight San Salvador. Looking on is Invictus Mashon. Making tracks to the ditch. And it is Marv Michael. Ambitious Fellow made a mistake there. Marv Michael at the last of the fences up the far side, joined by Turtan Pike Trip, who now takes it up. Followed by Flash to Tuzane, who continues to take closer order. Light Keeper next, then Antrim Coast, who has pulled his way up through the field. And then She's a Fine Wine, Never a Dull Moment. Native Speaker, Must Be Obeyed, and Kiltilly Park, an Ambitious Fellow, followed by Rian and Cave Court and Moon Over Clone. Lost out by a fine margin last year, down to the fences in the dip, 6 and 7. Turtan Pike Trip and Philip Byrnes have raced on ahead of the field at fence 6. From Marv Michael, joined for second by Flash to Tuzane. And then Antrim Coast, and She's a Fine Wine, Never a Dull Moment, Must Be Obeyed, Kiltilly Parks improved, and Light Keeper, losing ground on the inside of Native Speaker, and they're followed by Rian, Ambitious Fellow, and Cave Court. Coming back to their point of departure, and gone well clear of the field is Turtan Pike Trip. Shows 5-6 lengths in front now from Flash to Tuzane, a definite second. And then Marv Michael, Antrim Coast, She's a Fine Wine. Light Keeper, Never a Dull Moment, Kiltilly Park, Native Speaker, Ambitious Fellow, and Must Be Obeyed, and Rian and Cave Court. The Gopher, San Salvador, Moon Over Clune, Harsh, Mars Harper, Digby, Invictus Mashon. Turtan Pike Trip, now by 8 lengths, with another 7 fences to go. Just gone by halfway. The Guinness Galway Blazers Handicap Chase. Turtan Pike Trip, Philip Byrnes, followed in second by Flash to Tuzane and then a miler. On the inside is Marv Michael and Mike O'Connor as they turn outside the final mile, and then Antrim Coast and Cornerstone Walsh. She's a Fine Wine, and Brian Hayes. A stumble on the inside by Light Keeper going around that bend. Turtan Pike Trip's lead has been cut in half and fiddled out over that one. Flash to Tuzane now within 2.5. Losing its rider there was Ambitious Fellow. 7 furlongs to go. Another 5 fences to jump. 8 on its way to Sam Ewing as Turtan Pike Trip, followed by Flash to Tuzane. And then Antrim Coast as they near the 5th last fence. Turtan Pike Trip over carefully from Flash to Tuzane. She's a Fine Wine, Antrim Coast, followed by Never a Dull Moment, and Marv Michael, Must Be Obeyed, Kiltilly Park. At the ditch for the last time, 4 out. Turtan Pike Trip, Moon Over Clune, and Convenience there on landing by Rian. 3 to jump. Turtan Pike Trip, followed by Flash to Tuzane, Antrim Coast. Right with them is She's a Fine Wine. And then Native Speaker onto their heels, Must Be Obeyed, and then Never a Dull Moment, Kiltilly Park, and Rian next with Moon Over Clune and Digby and Cave Court. Marv Michael is running on the spot, and then Harsh, Invictus Mashon and San Salvador as they come down towards the final 2 fences. After them is Mars Harper, the Gopher, and losing touch is Light Keeper. Open race coming towards the second last. Turtan Pike Trip. She's a fine wine. In between them, Antrim Coast. Followed by Native Speaker. Over the final fence they go, then Flash to Tuzain. Antrim Coast picks it up from Must Be Obeyed. She's a fine wine, gone on by 2 lengths to Turnpike Trip, and the Native Speaker, never a dull moment, gets a reminder, then Rian Kilteely Park, Flash to Tuzain, fades, then Moon over Clune, Cave Court, San Salvador, Mars Harper and Victor smash on a gap to Harsh, Marv Michael falls away, then the Goffin and Light Keeper, they're racing to the final furlong, and the Guinness Galway Blazers, spaced across the track, Antrim Coast, Must Be Obeyed, renewing its effort as Turnpike Trip, followed by Native Speaker, San Salvador, She's a Fine Wine, Turnpike Trip, not to be denied in the Guinness Galway Blazers. Antrim Coast, Must Be Obeyed, and San Salvador next.
Guinness Galway Blazers has gone the way of Turnpike Trip. I'm delighted to be joined, of course, by winning trainer Charles Byrnes. That's one of your finest moments, that now.
Well, things hadn't been going well for us, and it's just brilliant to get a win, especially here in Galway,
Get this lad back after he's on 2 runs in 3 years.
Yeah, he broke down very badly, and we were trying to bring him back a year and a half ago, and we had to stop again and give him more time. He's had an awful. I actually, at that stage, I didn't think we would get him back, but he was such a kind horse, and we all loved him so much. We said we'd give him every chance, And so it's brilliant to get him back.
He was 145 over hurdles at one stage. The last time he won was back in 2019. That was a graded race to Joe Mack in Tipperary.
Yeah, he almost fell at the last that day, So he was he was a very good horse back in the day. He was very unlucky not to win a novice all here, a good novice all, all 140 horses around him, So. But look, I know he was old. He's 11. He's 11 at this stage. But if we look at that, he had to be competitive off 124,
And what were you hoping? What were you expecting coming here today?
We thought he had a sport in each way bet, a chance. That's what I told the owners. I think we're going there is a massive prize, and I said he won't disappoint.
Did you take a bit of that massive prize?
Look, things hadn't been going well, so we'll survive for another bit now.
First time over the trip as well. You were confident he'd get the trip because Philip made plenty of use.
Yeah, very confident he'd get the trip. He finished nearly the last day in Tipperary, which was only 2 miles. We didn't actually think he went that bad at all, And I think the form of the race has actually worked out well, So straight after that race, we just thought this race would suit him. He just creep in there at the bottom,
I thought you were in trouble coming up out of the dip.
Yeah, Philip said he got in under the last 2, kind of lost a bit of momentum. But he as I say, he's a good horse, and the class kind of told then, when he got him out.
No point in asking where next. It'll all be about obviously he's very fragile, as you've alluded to. Yeah. So it's a day-by-day process.
Day by day, he could even go back in the flat. The English Cesaro could even be a possibility. I wouldn't rule anything out. Kerry National, something like that.
Great stuff, well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, we're going to walk back in with Turnpike Trip's winning jockey, Philip Byrnes. Philip, that was a remarkable performance, a remarkable training performance by your father. It's only his 3rd run in 3 years nearly.
Yeah, no, it was mighty. In fairness, he obviously got a leg 3 years ago, and he took a lot of nursing back. He does a lot of swimming and treadmill and trotting the roads and everything, but it's all kind of paid off today. He'd 2 runs back, obviously, to blow away the cobwebs, and he's coming here, and we're hopeful. We're very happy with him at home, and hopeful, he could put his best foot forward and run a good race,
First time over this trip as well. You were confident about the trip because you got a good gallop on him, and running down into the dip, I thought you were going to drop away.
I kind of lit him up over the first half mile, and the first mile he was jumping mighty, and then when I was out in front for the second lap, his jumping kind of went a small bit. He's getting tight a small bit, but into the dip, I thought I made a mess of it, to be honest. He got in deep to the 2 of them, but in fairness, when I gave him a squeeze and straightened up, got back into him, the outclass showed the engine's still there, so we're delighted.
Because the last time he won was back in 2019. That was a grade 3, wasn't it? Tipperary over hurdles.
Yeah, look, I probably let him up. I didn't even have a licence that time, that kind of way. But no, we're Delighted.
We're all getting out of it, Philip.
Yeah.
Hey, many congratulations. Well done.
Thanks, Evan. Thanks.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.